Gonzo, a week to go. Are you excited? Are you worried? How are you doing?
Apathetic, actually, mate. I've got to say, what a sort of boring transfer window it's been. I almost forgot it was a transfer window. I think excited if you're a Man United fan, I guess, but for everyone else, not a lot happening, really.
To be fair, not many clubs need to do business. That's what we're going to talk about tonight, obviously. But before we do that, we're going to get a little bit serious for a second, and that is we're fundraising at the minute for Isla, the little West Ham fan that was mascot against Bournemouth. We're doing it in two ways. We've got the online auction, which we've just started. Got quite a lot of items so far, so thank you to Anthony for sending them. There's loads of programs, some signed as well. The link is in the description. There's also a link to it's a Just Giving page. It's for the Hammers chat, but all the money goes straight into Isla's fund. We don't touch any money; it goes straight into Isla's fund. We've got our own little goal. And at Crystal Palace on Tuesday, all the boat money, when you go down, you need a ticket. It's free, but when you go down, instead of paying money to get in, there'll be donation buckets. Drop whatever you can in there, and all that money goes into Isla Fund as well. So here's hoping we can raise a little bit of cash for a little fighter. Gonzo, let's talk about the bad news first. I know I mentioned Lanzini. I mean, if things can't get crap, you thought you come out 1-1 against Bournemouth. It wasn't the greatest game of football. You thought, I hope Lanzini's okay. He went off injured for 6 weeks, and now it's just 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, well, I thought Arnautovic did incredibly well, actually, because he was clearly injured from the start of the game. You could see him limping and holding his leg and whatnot. And we said very, very early that he looked injured. So he clearly carried on, which sort of shows his commitment. But they're pivotal to what Moyes wants to do and what Moyes is trying to do, and particularly with his style of play, with these. With so many defenders on there, and then we look to counter, and they're the two guys with a bit of craft, and really they've turned into his forwards. Whether you call them centre forwards or wide forwards or whatever, but they are his forwards. To lose both of them is a killer blow when you look at what's happened with Carroll and the fact that Hernandez. Maybe you want to talk about that. Have you got that plan to talk about Hernandez? Yeah, I mean, you got, when you got that, and then obviously the Sacco stuff as well. So clearly they were his first choice too to play up top. So you do wonder, where the goals will come from. Certainly,
this would hurt any team. Losing your most creative player and your informed goal scorer would hurt anybody. That's like going to Tottenham and taking out Eriksen and Kane. They're going to struggle. It's like going to Leicester and taking out Mahrez and Jamie Vardy. They're going to struggle. This is a blow. I mean, Monday night was a bad night for West Ham fans because, first of all, Swansea beat Liverpool, so now we're only 6 points off the bottom of, not the relegations, on the actual foot on the table. Only 6 points. We thought we were doing quite well, but suddenly we're only 6 points. Are we doing well? I don't know. But then we find out that Arnautovic is actually crocked as well. To be honest, this pissed me off a bit. The fact it got leaked. I don't think this news coming out is bad, because now the world knows we're even more desperate for a striker. So when West Ham went calling last week for a striker, they probably thought, oh, here's the price. Gets leaked, that club will think, well, you definitely need this guy because you've only got one striker that's fit, and we'll speak about him in a minute. So our positioning for buying has just got a hell of a lot worse than it was on Monday before the news come out. But we'll see. Hopefully it's going to... The one small silver lining is it's maybe going to give David Sullivan and David Moyes a boot up the backside to get them into action. And it looks like that might be happening, Gonzo. Super Mario looks like he's pretty much a hammer by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's hard to get excited about because I wouldn't know him, but walk past him in the street. So I've had to do a little bit of research, and clearly he's got some pedigree. They obviously thought highly of him into Milan, but from the brief few things that I read, it hasn't really worked out from there. I believe they brought Rafinha in on loan, so that means that he goes out. I sort of conflicting reports of whether he's a wide player or a central midfield player. Obviously, I'm hoping he's more central midfield. I started try and watch a video on him. Crikey, the music was just killing me, and they all get moody, and you see loads of. The first minute and a half was him high-fiving other players. I thought, oh, crikey, sod this for a game. So just what I saw, he looks quite leggy. He looks like he likes to dribble. Yeah, I mean, I would look forward to seeing him if it happened and making my own judgments in the flesh, certainly.
The funny thing is, I would say he's not neither a central midfielder or a wide player. He's sort of the Lanzini role. When this first came about, I did think, why are we getting him when he's going to go in the Lanzini role? So what we're going to do with Lanzini is this a little bit of a worry. Is this mean we're preparing? But then I think it's not a coincidence that Lanzini gets injured and bang, this deal's gone from maybe to pretty much happening in the space of 48 hours since we found out Lanzini's extent of injury. This guy's, I know it's only a loan. There's 2 reports as to whether there's most people seem to think there's a 30 million fee agreed, but there's 1 or 2 reports saying there's not, and that's why we've been able to get him on loan, because we've had to remove that to get him quickly. However, he's a next level player, him. I think he is superb. He's got the flair, he's got the passing. He's a player that'll get West Ham fans excited. And dare I say this, I think he can replace Lanzini, actually. Almost like, it would be quite exciting if you ever, later on in the season, we'll have those 2 playing together and behind a striker. But for now, this player, very, very good player. It's not worked out into. They've had a manager change, I think, since he joined as well, which is it could happen to the best of Hernandez, for example. The new manager comes in, don't fancy him. Even with his restricted time in Serie A this season, he's still got 3 or 4 assists to his name as well. And he's barely been on the pitch. But I think this guy, he's the real deal, Gonzo. He's the real deal, this one.
So yeah. I mean, to be fair, I'm relying on you with these ones. So I just do not see these players. I mean, if someone watches the Italian league or where was it, Sporting before, fair play to you. Do you know what I mean? But yeah. So mind you, Evan said that. I didn't know much about Harry Arter, but at least the point with Harry Arter was I'd actually seen him play live 3 or 4 times and hadn't been impressed by him at all. But don't know about this guy. Look, if he's as, all I would say is, if Inter Milan want to go and buy somebody, then they're not going to buy a Muppet, are they? You know, but he's got some pedigree at least. So I believe he's in the Portuguese squad as well, isn't he? And so we need him. And you know what? It's no shame not to have seen a player before. I do think actually it'd be quite nice to go. We're so sort of spoilt now. We hear links to the players before they come in, and you know, we've got all videos and everyone can look at them and you can see them all play first. But I think it's quite nice actually if we do get him. It'd be nice turning up at the stadium and actually see him with your own eyes and judge him for yourself and just seeing what he can do. Hopefully, it is all those things because we, as you know, we desperately need somebody that can pass the ball.
Yeah, to be fair, I agree with you. I rarely watch people on YouTube. But you know, like when we bought Clary and Zaza, I refuse to watch these clips of them. I just don't like doing it because it gives you a false vision. You know, I could go make Joey O'Brien look like the best right back in the world by next week on a video if I really wanted to. To be fair, he was second best in the world at the time. But
and that video is out next week, folks. So don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah. But well, I think he's going to join. It sounds like he's pretty much done. It's just dot the I's and cross the T's. Very, very good player, though. I'll be excited by that. When we'll do a video of that when it happens, we'll talk about more as we hear the details. One player doesn't look like this happening is another bald midfielder, Giorgio Shelby. Rafa Benitez has said, you know, you're not going to a relegation rival. Are you disappointed? This is sort of your...
Yeah, well, I'm disappointed with a relegation rival, that's for sure. So... Sure, he's not read the script, has he, Rafa? Surely he doesn't know that we're a club going places. We're going to be challenging for the Champions League and the old transport links and whatnot. So, but apparently not. We're a relegation rival. Yeah, I think it's a bit of a shame, but it's cool. I honestly don't mind. As I say, whilst I don't know about these other players, I'm willing to be enlightened. And if what we're not going to get is a national standard player, which is really what Shelby is, but we get a good international standard player come in who can play that sort of role, then absolutely fine. Not a problem with it at all.
I'm not too fussed about this. I mean, you'll know I was a bit lukewarm to this target. I didn't really get it. I didn't see where he would fit. With Joao Mario, you can see where he's going to fit. He's going to take Lanzini's role tomorrow. Shelby, I didn't really get it. To be fair, though, on Saturday when we were playing Bournemouth, the role Chiati was playing, I thought maybe that's where he wants to play Shelby. In that role, he's not restricted. He's a centre midfielder when defending, but as soon as we start going forward, he pushes up and sort of becomes Lanzini and let Lanzini go up ahead. And I could almost see that on Saturday. I could almost see a role for Shelby. I'm not surprised about Benitez. To be fair, Newcastle would be daft to do it. We said this about Sacco. Well, I said this about Sacco, about Swansea. We'd be daft to sell Sacco to Swansea because we all know what would happen. in the Premier League, this is why the window. I think this is why the window in general struggling just now. The relegation battle is so tight, 6 points between 20th and 10th or something. They're all relegation rivals. They can't sell to each other because you think, well, if you want this player, you want him for a reason. I'm going to be helping someone that could take up one of those 3 positions. Nobody wants to sell to each other, so everybody's sort of having to look outside the Premier League, which isn't a bad thing. But nobody's got the balls to go outside the Premier League, and not everybody has the knowledge or the time, which we'll come on to in a second. But speaking of outside the Premier League, David Moyes went to watch a couple. Stuart Pearce went to watch one. So let's talk about them. Fabian Ruiz of Real Betis, David Moyes went to watch him, and Andre Gomez. When I seen them, I did think, unrealistic.
Well, Gomez, as I understand it, actually plays for Barcelona. I don't mean he's not like Rafinha's just gone to Inter Milan, but Rafinha didn't play much for Barcelona. I mean, Gomez actually does play for Barcelona, so you're not going to get him, are you? The other lads, again, I'm not ashamed to say, I didn't know. Although I'm reliably informed by somebody who plays Footy Manager that he is an up-and-coming one, and he could be very, very good. Again, when I looked at some clips, not so much music on those clips, and he looked he looked like he could ping the ball around a little bit. There's a bit of two-footedness about him, actually. He was linking a play. He was a pass and move, playing 1-2s, maybe not as forward as your other guy, whatever his name was, Maria. So, yeah, he looked... Was that his name? Is that Maria?
Mario.
Maria.
You're doing what Phil Neville's doing right now and just really going for the ladies. Really.
I'll tell you what, he's on a corker, isn't he, Phil, at the moment? Yeah, I love the Sky News doing the old parody account, and they were so offended and so disgusted as well. And he didn't even say it, but it's funny, isn't it? Sorry, we digress. But they appoint him, knowing all this stuff, and know all this stuff's going to come out. You know, it's a bit like when they appointed Allardyce. They knew Allardyce had skeletons in the cupboard, but they appoint him anyway. So the FA, they lurch from one joke to another, really. So yeah, so Mario, not Maria, Mario looks to be a little bit more attacking in the clips I saw. Tends to like to dribble. Had a few more shots on him. Your other fella, a little bit more deep, pass, give and go. So maybe they might be looking at both. This might be wishful thinking.
Ruiz is too good for West Ham. He's far too good for West Ham. It's Spain. I think if there's a good upcoming young player in Spain, he's guaranteed he's on the radar of one of the big clubs over there. It's like Germany. If there's a good player in Germany, Bayern Munich are already watching him. It's like Leon Bailey at Leverkusen right now. He's tearing that league up. He's the next big thing in Germany. But as soon as you even look at him, Bayern Munich will say, I'll have him, thank you very much. And that's the same with Rui at Betis. You're not going to get him out of there. Apparently, his release clause is quite low, but if we were to somehow activate that, 10 other clubs would go, actually, here's my money as well, thank you. Gomez at Barca, he wasn't playing earlier on in the season. I think he handed in a transfer request early on, but you're right, he has been in the team quite consistently since the turn of the new year anyway. So this is something I'm going to say now. David Moyes has said he won't sign a player unless he's seen him, right? I admire that to an extent, but I don't think this is the right time and place to be sticking to that policy a little bit. You know, he's gone out to Spain and watched this game. 2 players, we're probably not going to get. But we need bodies, and we need bodies quick. I don't think we have time to let David... How does David Moyes possibly have time on his hands to go scout these players? I know he said about how with Julian Lescott at Everton, he had to see him 8 times. We don't have time for David Moyes to go watch so many times.
And he still bought him.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, say he went out to, maybe not the Stuart Pearce one when he went to Belgium's a better example. He went out there to watch Den Donker or whatever his name is, Dilly Donker as we called him. This is how bad our intel was. We went out there and he was playing centre-back, and Stuart Pearce apparently was genuinely surprised he was playing centre-back. He was expecting... He's been playing centre-back for the last few games. It wasn't a surprise to anybody except Stuart Pearce. Now, how do me, you, and everyone else on social media know that he's been playing centre-back, but yet the West Ham coaching team don't seem to have this information in hand? And 2, are you honestly going to judge a £20 million transfer on 90 minutes of football? Are you going to go out there and watch him? And if he has a bad game, not getting him, he played poor. But if he has an excellent game, are you going to go, oh, brilliant, let's buy him? All we have to do is look at our own club. the amount of times you can talk about, pick out a player and we can tell you when he's had a really good game, 8 out of 10, or he's had a really crap game. Just this season, you need to go watch someone 8 times like David Moyes did. This is January transfer window. We do not have time for this. Tony Henry should have identified players in the club, and Moyes should trust Tony Henry to an extent. But that's my rant over. Dendoncker, he's gone a bit quiet. Do you still think we need a centre midfielder?
Yeah, a passing one, though. I don't think we do need a defensive midfielder. I really don't. I think this formation is such that he's got 3 centre-backs in there, even though, you know, some of the guys he plays to shield the back four might not be in brackets defensive midfielders. The system allows for him to have that and be solid. What we lack when we are solid is possession and quality to counter attack. So I do think we need a central midfielder, and I think it needs to be a passer. I do think we need that. So with regard to, and you're right about Dendoncker, I know nothing, okay, about these European players, as we know. But we do a little show, and I know that he is Anderlecht centre-back who had been converted to play in central defensive midfield, and he goes back and forth. Funnily enough, not dissimilar to what Kiate used to do at exactly the same club. What does get me is, you mentioned Leon Bailey, right, earlier on. Leon Bailey is a winger, and he's a Jamaican winger, right? He's Jamaican. I know about him because everyone has been raving about him. So I've heard it, Leon Bailey. Got a mate, with a mutual friend, as we know, gives us some tips on the footy, on the betting. He's often said, I'll get on this guy to assist or score a goal or whatever. So I sort of know about him. Not one single, I'd never heard one single person mention Dendoncker before we got linked to him. And now people are crying into their cornflakes that we're not going to sign Dendoncker. I would have heard of that because I would have recognised the name. It's a bit of a silly name. But now everyone's getting mad that we're not signing him. I just think sometimes we're so desperate for signings, we cling to anyone that we possibly might sign, regardless of whether it's a good one or not. Now, he might turn out to be a very good player. Who knows? But I just think the last thing we need at the moment, particularly in light of what Rice is doing, but coming back as well, the fact that Font may or may not go, who knows? Ginge looks like he may well get a new contract. The last thing we need is another defensive player. So a technical midfielder for me is exactly what we need.
Well, Moyes keeps harping on about how he wants to play a different way, not the way we're playing. So maybe he needs a defensive midfielder in order to allow him to do that, i.e. convert the forward back. And there's another player who may trigger Moyes' new system. I think we need a centre mid. I think we do need a sort of a ball-playing one and a defensive mid, but I think we need one this window and one for the summer. And I think we need to decide which one's going to cost the most and go for him in the summer, and then try and get the cheaper option, if you like, in now, because it is a seller's market. It is difficult to buy people. I know people say it's a tough window, but I always say, so when's the easy one? Every window's budget. We couldn't get William Cavallo in the summer, and that's supposedly the not so tough window to go get someone. But I think we need to get one in, Mario, and I think we need one other player, a striker. But we'll speak about him in a second. But the other player that Moyes might be going for to change the system, we're being linked with. Now, I don't think this is true. That's another Barcelona player. That's Deulofeu. 20 million. He's unlike Gomez. He's not been playing for Barca this season. I think he's had about 5 starts or something like that in the whole season in the league. He's got the pace. He's got the trickery. He's got what we're missing. Would you say?
I'm a huge fan of his. Somebody I do know and somebody I've seen play because he's played over here. I mean, it was really weird to see them because obviously he started. I think he was actually at the B team, the Barcelona B team or something like that. But I think they always had a callback on him. And they do that sometimes when they sell players, Barcelona. A lot of big clubs do. They did it with a fella at the guy that's now at Southampton that went to Chelsea. They had a buyback on him, the central defensive midfielder. They had a buyback of 5 million on him. They do it quite a lot, and I think they had a buyback on him, possibly Deulofeu, and there was something. I think did he not go on loan to AC Milan as well, or something like that, as I remember. I know he was at Everton.
Yeah, I think
AC Milan, and then back to Everton. Yeah, so I think what happened is they sold him to Everton. Then Everton had him. They loaned him back to AC Milan. Then Barcelona said, actually, we'll have him back at that agreed buyback price, which is what they've done. I just thought he was very, very unlucky actually with the run of managers that he had there as well. He looks really, really good. He has got lots of pace. He can finish. I just think he's been unlucky with his run of managers. He's more than good enough to play for West Ham and more than good enough to be one of the better players at West Ham. Very, very good player.
Do we have a position for him, though? He's a winger, Gonzo. We don't play with wingers.
We play with anyone we can get at the moment. I mean, make no mistake about it. We are as far away from being a team that can only put out 11 players or has a set 11 as you can possibly get. And believe you me, if Arnautovic can play up front for David Moyes, Deulofeu can play up front for David Moyes, maybe, as you just said, that if he does want to switch formation and have a different style of play, he probably will play with wingers. In fact, you look at how he used to play with Pienaar, for instance, at Everton. He does like a wide player as well. I think Leon Osborne, when he brought him into the team, often was deployed wide. So I think he's got it within his tactical playbook, if you like, David Moyes, to play a wide player. But as I say, he is good enough. He's got a real howitzer of a shot on him as well, Deulofeu. So I think there's no doubt about it. West Ham's squad will be better with him in it.
Yeah, I agree. He's not quite good enough for Barca, but there's no shame in that. I've seen plenty of other players go there just not quite be good enough, but more than good enough for a mid-table Premier League side, which is what we are. He's only 23 as well, actually. I thought he was older. He seems to have been around for quite a while and still be quite young, actually, which is credit to him because it shows just how early he was playing first-team football, etc. And you struggle to find a 23-year-old with vast experiences he's got that's only 20 million. I'm not sure that'll happen, but it'd be interesting. The other position we're looking at, though, is supposed to be as a striker on loan. No surprises, since Carroll looks like he might be out for the season. Hernandez is, I'll speak about him in a second. Sakho's, although he trained with the first team today, Sakho, so I've got a feeling we might see him at the weekend, but he still wants to leave. Bordeaux have said they want him. But striker on loan, I mean, there's not many of them unless we're going to pull something out of the bag.
Well, we also don't know what Moyes wants to do. Look, he's had the choice of, you said Sakho, he's had the choice of Carroll, Chicharito, he's had the choice of many strikers. Ayu's played a striker at Swansea. He doesn't fancy any of them as strikers. Funny enough, he's taken the two people that aren't strikers and played them up top. So I think when we're assessing who he might buy, I wouldn't be surprised if it's someone quite left of field. Maybe he just wants a different type of player as a striker. It's that, they like to give things labels, don't they? But with Messi and the old false nine at Barcelona and that, which was basically no striker, if you like, with just I think the point is that they have a freedom to do what they want and not necessarily have to track back, and then it's the other guys that have to do all the tracking back. So it's a way of giving someone technical freedom without having to involve him in saying, right, you are covering the fullback or you are covering this guy. And I think maybe I wouldn't be surprised. He's not going to get this player because Stoke won't do business with us. But it wouldn't surprise me if actually you looked at someone like a Shaqiri or someone like that. I thought, actually, that's who I'm going to have, because for the moment I can play him there until I get an Arnautovic fit and Thingy fit, and then when they are fit, I can drop him and play in another position. I think he might look for versatility.
I think he should look at Anfield, to be honest. I think there's a striker there we could maybe get.
Yeah, so he should bring Sturridge in. You're right.
I'll be gutted if I find out we've got a Liverpool striker on loan and it's Daniel Sturridge. I'd actually be pretty upset, to be honest. But Hernandez, what do you make of all this talk? His agent has basically said he's sort of open to move, if you like. Not quite a transfer request, but the next best thing, isn't it? When your agent comes out and basically says, hello, my player's here if you want him.
I'd only be surprised that anyone was surprised, if you know what I mean. The move has not worked out for him. It's not worked out for us. It's not worked out for anyone. I think you're in a bit of a funny situation here, because actually he could have been really useful for us now. And to be fair, he scored in the last game. So he's still got that instinct. I think even if he hadn't have really fancied him, maybe he'd have felt more involved when we actually get to a point like this and thought, okay, everyone else is gone. Right, we need Chicharito. This is our formation that we play when Chicharito's in there, and we go to it and he'd feel better about it. But since he come in, Bilic played him on the wing. Moyes doesn't really fancy him. Sky put his goals to game ratio up the other day. And they just put all the games up there like they were starts. All that is so unreflective of what has actually happened here. And I just think he's in a position now where actually we need him, but he probably doesn't feel that loved. He's probably not interested. He probably don't want to be here anymore. And the agent could really do with shutting up. Quite frankly, he can do his bidding quietly. You don't have to announce it to the world. All these agents, everyone talks. He can, I don't know, whoever fancies him, if he wants to go back to Germany, he can phone up Schalke or whatever and say, look, you know, Chicharito wants out, wants to go back to Mexico. Well, he can phone them up. He don't need to make the announcement. So I think that's pretty classless. But am I surprised that he wants to leave? Not in the least.
It's what the agents do, though. It's the agent's job, and at the end of the day, especially the player says to him, which we don't know. The player does say, "Get me out of here." The easiest, the quickest way for him is to just broadcast it to the world and see who rings him up and says, "Oh, we fancy him." Actually, at the end of the day, he can't leave because we've got no players. It's just as simple as that. It's almost unfortunate for Hernandez that he can't get out. He can't just end this what has been a bit of a nightmare so far, because of the last two injuries, which we just spoke about. It's just not possible for him to go anymore. Even if we did sell him, how on earth are we going to replace him for what will we get, 10 million maybe? How on earth are you going to replace Hernandez for 10 million when the world will know you need a striker? It's just not happening. I mean, this Russian guy that no one's heard of, small of, is 15 million. Now, we don't even know if it would work out for them, but the point is it'll cost more than Hernandez. The problem with Hernandez is his wages, and if a club is willing to take him, it must be very tempting for Moyes and the board to think, actually, we could get him off the books for 100 grand a week. We can bring in two players on the same wage that can actually fill out the squad a bit. And this is where it all gets a little bit tricky. I'm not sure there's a right and wrong answer here, but because of the injuries, I'm going to hint and say that actually he just can't be sold. Maybe Mario will start to bring out the best of Hernandez, putting a different player in behind Hernandez who can feed Hernandez a bit more, or a bit better than what he's had so far. We might see a different player. And for the next 2 or 3 games, it looks like we're going to be seeing a lot more of him. James Collins, though, he's had Brighton want him. To be fair, I think Brighton have got off him a little bit because I see they've been linked with Aidan Flint today for 6 to 10 million. Very good centre back, whoever gets him. But Ginger said that he's not had a contract offer yet. He's surprised he's not had a contract offer. Would you give him a contract offer, or would you cash in on him?
Of course, I'm not surprised that he hasn't had a contract offer. No, I've said before on many cups of tea, I would like him to finish his career at West Ham and then have a coaching role. We've said it numerous times. So, no, but I'm also not surprised he hasn't been offered a contract. I also think, you say Brighton have gone off him. I mean, he made a very Ginge-like statement the other day, which was he loved it at West Ham and he wanted a new contract. I think he even said in his statement it was horrible when he went to Aston Villa, which I thought was brilliant. Obviously, Aston Villa fans are thinking, oh, cheers, mate, but I like that. And he spoke from the heart. And I think if you were Brighton looking on, you would have thought, actually, do we want to buy this guy? We've had it before. We've had players that we've been linked with and they've announced their undying love to the club that they're at. And you think, actually, maybe I shouldn't really be signing this guy. I mean, you've got to be a hell of a professional, I think, to be sort of in love with a club and the place that you're living and the kids at school, to actually be dragged away from somewhere, even though you want to stay there. And actually, we've got one. And that guy is Zabaleta. Zabaleta was loved at Man City, had a good home at Man City. Kids are all there, all that sort of stuff. Clearly didn't want to leave. Clearly he wanted, wanted to be loved and would have loved to have been wanted by Guardiola, but he wasn't, so he had to leave. It's a measure of the man that he's been so professional since he came here and got involved with West Ham and embraced it in the way he has. I think Ginge would be like that if he did go to another club. I think he would give it his all. So you take that Aston Villa comment with a pinch of salt, maybe. But I think for Brighton looking on, I think you just look on and think, actually, his heart is at West Ham. Let's leave him well alone. And I'll tell you what, he's going to be like a Carlton Cole, Ginge, as well. He is not going to hold him to ransom over a contract. I'm pretty sure he'd agree for exactly this. I can't talk for him or his agent, but I would imagine, reading between the lines, he'll probably, re-sign for whatever he's on at the moment. It's no risk.
To be honest, if I were Brighton, because of that attitude, that's exactly why I would be going for him. I'd go, hang on, look at this guy. You've got loads of players right now throwing themselves in the shop window. We just spoke about Hernandez's agent. And you've got this guy actually saying, actually, I don't want to go anywhere. I'm happy where I am. I want to play here. I want to fight for the cause. That's exactly the characteristics you want to be signing. You want to say to James Collins, to be honest, Chris Hugh's a decent manager as well. You could just imagine a conversation between him and Collins going, listen, mate, I understand why you want to stay at West Ham. I probably would in your shoes. However, we're giving you the 2-year deal. We're giving you security. You take that attitude and commitment and throw it into this club. These fans will love you as well. And I think Brighton would actually be a good fit for him if he does go. I do think he would do well there. But I'm always torn with Collins. Every summer, I always say time to get rid of Collins. Every summer, I say it. I said it last summer, I said it the summer before, I said it the summer before that. Because we've got Rice, Oxford to an extent, and Burke, and I want to see them have a path. And I always think James Collins is the one that's sort of at the end, in front of that path, the older one that's waiting to be nudged out of the way a little bit. And I always think, let's get him out of the way so that he's get. But then when you watch him, you just think, bloody hell, this guy's playing like he's the age of Declan Rice and stuff. And his form when coming back into the team, is even just the last game. I actually think we're seeing the best of James Collins' career in the last 2 or 3 seasons. I think he's somehow just turned into this fantastic centre back. He's never had pace. So sometimes when a player loses one of their main attributes, well, when a player loses pace, they completely change as a player. Collins has never had it, so he's not got it to lose. So he's always played without that pace. So he knows how to read the game. And he's still doing it today. To be honest, I'll leave up to Collins. If he wants to stay, that's fine. Give him a new deal. Give him a short-term deal, a 1-year deal. But anyways, coming up to your questions, so pin your questions in on the live stream if you're listening to on playback. People are putting their questions in live on YouTube, and I've got a few from Twitter we'll get through in a second. But one last player, Gonzo. Reece Oxford looks like he's gone back to Germany. If I've ever seen the most unprofessional way of poaching a player, they're certainly doing it. I mean, Christ, did you see him? He was hitting a golf ball or something, and they quoted him. It's their English account, but they quoted him saying something like "wrong club, Reece." To be fair, it was a good joke. I appreciate a good tweet, a good joke. That was a good one, but it's a bit. You talk about doing your business in private. Come on, Jesus, man.
Well, I hadn't seen that joke actually. I thought you were going to say something else. Yeah, that's a good joke. Actually. That's good. That's good. Again, I mean, I don't blame him any more than I sort of blame Hernandez, really. I brought him back to have a look at him. I know he got a little knock. He, had one little look at him in a game, didn't quite fancy him, sends him back. He'd have been better off staying out there and doing the whole season. And actually, what I think it's done, I think it might have jeopardised our chances of keeping him, and which would be a bad thing because he might turn out to be a very, very good player. So I think it seems he didn't want to come back. He wanted to stay there for the season. I think we've dragged him kicking and screaming back. And the one thing that would have reassured him that it was the right thing to do would have been if he'd have got some games and been given a fair crack at a whip. But it's almost like he's been dragged back here. The manager's decided he actually prefers Rice anyway. And do you know what? He might even prefer Burke over him. So off you go back to him. And he's missed that whole... Well, I know they have a winter break, but he's missed a chunk of games over in Germany. He's learning a new language and stuff like that. I just think the whole move was quite poor, so I don't blame the club for sending him back. I don't blame him for wanting to go back.
Right, moving on to questions. Flight Times asked about the Wigan game. Flight, we've got our Wigan preview up tomorrow night on the channel, and we've got the Palace one on Sunday, so we'll discuss those there. Same question as always, Gonzo. Sam, how worried are you?
Sam, I'm not worried at all, mate. I've got to say, I've had the life sucked out of me in this transfer window. I'm losing all. Not for West Ham. Went to the game, Bournemouth game, and thoroughly enjoyed watching the team play and going to the games and all the rest of it. But I'll tell you what, all this transfer stuff, it's sucking the life out of me. It's sucking the absolute life out of me, and I don't. It's been hard because. We like, as Tom said, we like the chairman to be quiet, and he's been quiet. And if it comes to the end and he's been quiet and got some business done, then fair enough. But I just think you get worn down window after window of not really seeing the players coming in that you might like. I'd not past caring, but until we sign someone, I don't know. But I'm not worried about it because I just don't think it even matters anymore.
You sound a bit worried. I don't get drained because I just take it for what it is. I take the piss. I mean, if you follow us on Twitter every day, I try and take the piss out of the previous day's worth of rumours. I just try and enjoy it for what it is, and that is 98% bullshit, 1% genuine that doesn't happen, 1% genuine that does happen. I just try and enjoy it. So am I worried? A little bit. I think Mario's pretty much done, so that's chilled me out a little bit. But I don't know. I just think as much as we slag off Sullivan and that, there's still a week to go in the window, which is a long, long time. We're definitely going to sign one or two more players because they're businessmen at the end of the day. They're not stupid. And there's a complete difference between the two. Lynn says, do you think we will make more than one signing? Let's take Mario's done. Do you think we'll make one or two more?
Hello, Lynn. I think probably. I think Geo's right. I think we probably will make two.
Yeah, so I agree with that. I don't think there'll be big signings. I don't think we're going to be splashing the cash. And I think there'll be a couple of shrewd ones. I think they get called shrewd when they're cheap. A couple of shrewd signings to come in. At the real SB on Twitter says, if you had to bet we won't be relegated, how much money would you put down?
That we won't?
Yes.
I guess it's a relative, isn't it? I mean, I don't know, 50 quid. I'm more confident than that, but I wouldn't bet a lot of money on anything. So,
I don't gamble, so I won't be putting anything down. Shahir says, this goes back to the very first thing we spoke about, and that is, should David Moyes have subbed off Marco Arnautovic? He was struggling at the start of the game. He played him on for the whole 90 minutes. I know you said that's credit to Arnautovic for wanting to play on, but as the manager, should he have took him off and not risked him?
Shahir, you could change that question again to should he have subbed Mikel Antonio, and he was looking injured in some of those games. I mean, he almost had to collapse and beg to come off. So the answer to your questions, yes, and on both accounts. But that's the trouble when all your eggs are in one basket. That's the trouble when your system is so reliant on a finite number of players, and that's what it was. Because actually, because we are so lacking in attacking players, not attacking players, we got lots of forwards. We've mentioned lots of them today on the books, but attacking players that fit into Moyes' system, because we're so lacking in those, he almost has to keep them on the pitch.
Moyes and Sullivan are to blame for this one, or Moyes or Sullivan. I'm not sure which. We can blame both here. Bournemouth was on the 20th. The window had been open for 20 days, and they still hadn't signed anyone. You can also blame the team and Moyes to an extent for the FA Cup game. We had a replay during the week, which if you'd done the job properly the first game, you wouldn't have had that replay. Not only that, the game went to extra time and we had to bring on Arnautovic in that game, etc. Lanzini had to play 120 minutes, then goes and gets injured and stuff. There's loads of little different things you can pick up. But to your question, should he have been subbed off? Yes, but was the damage already done? He might still have been out for 4 weeks. We'll never know. It's all subjective. 1985 Woo on Twitter says, if Moyes continues to succeed and not be backed, do you think he will walk or be grateful that someone took a punt on him?
No, I think Moyes is a good man, actually. I think he's a solid guy. Everything I've seen, I really do think he is. And funny enough, last week I spoke to somebody who was a scout for him at Sunderland, and someone that's known him for a long, long time. And he really spoke highly of him. We know him from a mutual friend, basically, and he spoke really highly of him as a bloke. So I think he actually is the type of bloke that would remain loyal in that sense. I also think he went through the hard times at Everton when they were really giving him a pittance. I think when he got towards the end, he was allowed to spend big on Fellaini, possibly bought Fellaini for 15 million, which at the time was big money for him. But I think he was happy to survive on a shoestring. I think he enjoys doing it. I think that's why, as Geo alluded to earlier, he wants to see every player for himself. I just think that appeals to him, and in many respects that is the perfect fit for Sullivan, because that's what Sullivan wants. Sullivan wants someone to be tight with his money, a bit like Wenger's been over the years, but obviously a slight difference in the football there. But I think Moyes has integrity, and I do think he will stick around.
I don't know where he will go, to be honest. There's only 20 Premier League jobs. Half of them are just not up for grabs. He's not getting a top 6 job, for example, and then there's other clubs who, like Burnley with Dyche, Bournemouth with Howe, just not sacking their managers. So that leaves maybe 10 Premier League jobs up for grabs. He's got one of them. if he leaves, there's no guarantee he's going to get an next one. He's probably not going to go abroad after what happened in Spain. So he's probably quite comfortable here, actually. So I don't think he'll walk either. Hammer from Devon Miles on Twitter says, if we sign players, do you think we will sell? And if you think we will sell, who do you think we will sell?
I've no doubt that we will sell. Sorry, was it Miles? Yeah, hello, Miles. I do. I do think we will sell. It's been a bit weird, actually, because apparently we knocked back, depending what website you read or what papers you read, we knocked back a bid for Saka. And we knocked back a bid for Ayew. Now, I might have it slightly wrong, but I thought the bid for Ayew was 14-odd million, plus 6 million add-ons if the pigs fly and whatever, and there's a solar eclipse or something like that. But I think we were only getting 14 million. And apparently the board said no to both, which really surprised me. And I know they wanted to recoup their 20 on Ayew, but I just thought, do you know what, 9 for Sacco plus the 14. I thought, actually, sometimes you just got to suck it in and bite the bullet on that and just say, actually, they're both off the books. The manager doesn't fancy them. And actually, it's a significant amount of money to go towards somebody that the manager does like. So I was surprised it didn't happen. But I do think both of those will still happen, because I just think, all right, Swansea got a result. But I just think, the longer it goes, the more desperate people get. I think Sacco's desperate to leave. I think Swansea are probably desperate for Ayew. His brother's there. I think both those will happen.
I think I'll just be Sacco. I don't think Ayew can go. We've got no players. We need players. As soon as I get what you're saying, 21 million or whatever would be quite handy to spend. But 21 million, go get 2 players in Premier League that's going to make a difference, etc. It's not a lot of cash. It's not a lot of money. And he's only got a week. That's if they were sold tonight. He's only got a week to go get them in. And what you've got to remember is we play on Tuesday, so you can almost half score that day off for transfer deals. Not the Wednesday. I think there's 7 games in the Premier League on transfer deadline day. It's not going to be easy to try and buy players on deadline day. This happened last year. I remember it. Last year we did our live transfer show, which we'll be doing again. Just think Sky Sports News with a weird twist. That's what we're doing. 5 hours or something. We'll sit and chat. But I remember doing it then, and it was quiet. We were saying it's really quiet. That's because everyone was playing. People could, and that it just takes the whole atmosphere out of it. We cannot gamble. I don't think. I think Sacco, yes, that's it. He's the only player we can sell, I think. Curting Hammer says, top clubs rarely loan. So is it the best way to build a squad when we rarely sign them after their loan? I
don't know. I mean, Inter Milan have just signed Rafinha today, which is why we might be getting the one that's not called Mario. So I also don't think we're a top club. Maybe top clubs don't loan. Maybe that's the only example that there is, the Inter Milan one. But we're not a top club. We're about as far away from being a top club as you can possibly get. Do I think it's a good way to build a squad? No, but I'm not even sure we are building a squad. I think at the moment, Moyes is disassembling a squad that was put together by somebody else. I mean, I think we're a long way off that. Loans is a dirty word. And I guess it depends as well what you deem to be a successful loan in many respects. See, I would suggest that Gökhan Toure was a successful loan because he was absolute crap. And it was a good job that he was on loan. Otherwise, we would have had to foot the bill. Zaza, make up your own mind. Maybe in hindsight, he went to Valencia, started scoring some goals. But actually, at the time, I think we were quite relieved that he was on loan. So the geezer coming in today, whenever he comes in over the next couple of days, it might well prove very, very good if we get him with an option to buy, because he might be a £30 million player and we get the option to buy him for £30 million. Great. But you know what? He might be a load of old pants and not be a £30 million player at all, in which case, we can, we're lucky that we've paid tuppence on a loan fee.
Every loan's different, though. This is the thing. I still maintain to this day, Zaza was done by Sullivan. That deal was the worst loan deal I've ever heard in history. You've got 15 games to prove yourself, and then we're going to have to pay or release you. We're going to pay 20 million to get rid of you. That was the worst loan deal ever. So that was never going to be successful. But the Lanzini one, genius. Any columns, we've got the 8 million agreed. Perfect. Carl Jenkinson, for me was a very good loan. He come in, he looked good. And in that summer, I know the second loan didn't work out. In that summer, I would have happily seen us spend 10, 12, 15 million on getting him in, because I generally thought, as a right back, him and Creswell on either side was perfect for us from what we've seen in his first year. I think Mario is a superb loan. We're getting a player, very, very good. 30. I mean, if we don't loan Mario, that means, say we went and bought him, 30 million, crikey. I wouldn't want us to spend 30 million on a guy and he comes over and doesn't quite make it and he flops a little bit. If we talk about recouping, I use 20 million. You're never going to recoup this guy's 30 million, are you? So loans can be good. Do they build a squad? No, but they fill out a squad. They allow you to delay spending the transfer budget in a way. You think, okay, I've got X amount of money. I need to fill 3 positions. If I get that position in on loan, I can split that X money between 2 positions instead of 3, and more worry about that position in the next transfer budget. And I think that's what a loan does. And I think it's good as long as you utilise them correctly. I really like loans, actually. They're low risk, but as long as you've got that option to buy at the end of the season, like when Caleri came in, I thought that was stupid, not having a loan, because I thought, well, if he comes in and does well, we've got no price agreed. Price doubles. He's 14 million today, he's 28 million at the end of the season if he does well. So it depends on the terms and conditions. Right, Twitter questions now. Mike says, how surprised would you be if we signed nobody?
I'm not surprised at all. Not in the least bit surprised. Yeah,
I'd be shocked. I genuinely would be shocked. Josh K7 says, realistic striker. If you could sign a realistic striker, who would you go for?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, please. Thanks, mate. Yeah, go on.
Danny Ings, please.
Oh dear. Oh, I don't know. Do you know what I would have liked to have seen? He left China with his not with his sail between his legs, with his suitcase of cash between his legs to go back to Argentina. Just a couple of weeks ago, I would have loved to have seen us try and bring Tevez in for the final run-in. That would have been absolutely lovely. He's only gone back to an Argentina. I say only, but you know, it's his home. I don't know. I've got to say, I do actually. I know we said Rondon before, and Rondon does look a really, really good player. The trouble is you bring these players, it's like Gabbiadini at Southampton. He looked really good when he came in. I know he scored a couple against us. Looks really good. But sometimes you bring these players in and they don't work out. And I just think it's so strange the way Moyes is deploying Lanzini and Arnautovic. They almost throws the rule book out of the window in terms of what sort of striker that you could get and who would he use? Who would be useful to him? And that's why I said Shaqiri earlier on. I think somebody like that, even though he's not a striker, would possibly come in and play as a second striker for him. Believe it or not, the best striker that Moyes has got to play his system is at the club at the moment is Sacco, and it don't look like he's getting a shout or getting a sniff. Someone like that. Can't think of any names off the top of my head, sorry.
Ings. To be fair, if I couldn't have Ings, I would go in the Championship. I saw Belonga and Bobby Reid. One of those two players. I think it'll cost you quite a bit of money, 50 million, quite a bit of cash. Assam Belonga, I think, would fit David Moyes like a glove. He's got pace. He's got power. He's so strong. It's ridiculous. He scores goals. Bobby Reid, a little bit riskier because he's only been playing as a striker for one season. He's been attacking midfielder. However, Johnson converted him to striker for this season. It's paid dividends. It's working absolute wonders. He's smashing them in. I told you a few weeks ago, when you're betting at the weekend, look at Bobby Reid. He's been banging them in since. He's only 24, though. I do wonder if he can step up. I would love to see us gamble more from the Championship. I want to see those players given a chance. And funny enough, someone that scored non-stop the last 2.5 seasons is Jamie Vardy. I mean, 5 years ago, he was playing for Town. I mean, the talent is there. Just go find it. And if David Moyes has to go look at him 8 times, go watch him 8 times, please.
The Leipzig geezer. The Leipzig one. The one that plays for Germany. Tall, quick, good. Bloody good. What's his name?
Werner.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, 80 million maybe.
Really? Oh, yeah, I thought he looked decent.
Yeah, if you've got 80 million, you might be able to get a look at him. Clayton says, are we in trouble if we do not replace Arnautovic and Lanzini?
Yeah. Although I do think if you thought you'd seen Clayton, I tell you, mate, right? If you think you'd seen Shut Up Shop, right, before now, you just wait. And if we signed no players and we had no Arnautovic and no Lanzini, it would be respect the point like you have never seen in your life, mate. I tell you now, our tactics would be nobody for the rest of the season scores against us, and in 3 or 4 games we get a couple of headers from corners or something like that. I tell you, those would be the tactics, and if we would be hoping and praying that Antonio got back. Because I tell you what, Gio's right. Perhaps we can't sell Ayew at the moment, but even if we didn't, I still don't think he gets played very much. I really don't. And the same with Hernandez. I still think that he would wait. And when Antonio comes back, Antonio be a striker. It's almost anyone but a striker gets to play as a striker. And I don't blame him particularly because I think that looks really exciting. What I saw of Arnautovic and Lanzini, I did think looked exciting. My problem was I just wanted someone else in midfield to help him that could pass him the ball. So I'm not being a total downer on Moyes' tactics, but I'll tell you something now. Without them, yes, do I think we'd be in trouble? Yes, I do. But if you know what I mean, what I just said about the tactics, you ain't seen nothing yet, mate, in terms of defence. We'd be having 15% possession.
Yeah, to be fair, I've seen someone write a comment about Moyes, and someone said there's a debate. I'm not going to say what the debate was because that just opens up a whole new conversation. But basically, his point about Moyes was on Saturday it was 1-1 against Bournemouth, and he brought on 2 defenders. And I thought, actually, yeah, that does sum him up a little bit, doesn't it? Yeah, if we don't replace those 2, we're fucked. But I'll tell you what, the funny thing is we've just spent 55 minutes or something discussing about how Moyes needs to get players in to play to his system. Part of me wants to say, Moyes, change your system. You've got those players. Instead of putting Hernandez and Ayew up front and playing the same way as you do with Lanzini and Arnautovic, change it so that you're getting the best out of Ayew and Hernandez. It wasn't long ago, I remember seeing someone on Twitter, someone said, oh, great, we're never going to score with Ayew and Hernandez up front. It wasn't long ago we were playing Crystal Palace away and they both scored. You know, they can't actually play, but the problem is they cannot play with this football we're playing right now. Neither of them are particularly nippy. I mean, we saw with Hernandez at Wembley, he had a 10-yard start and Sanchez. 10 yards later, Sanchez had tackled him. I mean, he's going to have a big head start. Ayew, I've always said he's not fast, but with a football at his feet, he's brilliant. But the problem is, David Moyes doesn't want to play in the final third. David Moyes wants to play in our own third and boot it up to the final third and hope something happens. And that's the problem. We don't have. We've almost got too many. The players we've got are used to playing football too much in a way. They want to play passing. Moyes wants to play long ball direct, which is fine. I do think Moyes, the challenge is on Moyes now, and that is you've got to change so that we're not playing this boot it long type football.
Well, that's interesting what you say there, because you say about changing the system. Just as you were saying it, I was thinking. So you even take Lanzini and Arnautovic out of it, okay? Let's say they're injured for the rest of the season. You're quite right. You've got to utilise the players that you've got. So I mean, you could play a 4-4-2. You could play Zabaleta at right back. You could play Cresswell at left back. Pick your 2 centre backs, whatever. You could play Antonio on the right. You could play Masuaku on the left. Pick your 2 midfielders, and you're absolutely right. He could. Even if he didn't use Ayew, he could play Sacco and Chicharito up front. He could play a 4-4-2. Would we win all the games? No, but I tell you what, I think you've got a great point. That team would win some Premier League games between now and the end of the season, and we'd score some goals, no doubt about it.
Andy, will we spend 10 million? Let's go net. Because it'd be very easy to go, oh yeah, but then if we're going to sell Sacco for 10, essentially it becomes 20.
No, I don't think we will. I still wasn't ever convinced about the Payet money. I thought in the summer we all did our calculations. I thought we should have, looking at it and looking at the books and looking at everything. I thought we should have about £50 million to spend. We didn't. But every time we see some money, so apparently there was £25 million there to sign Carvalho. So that 25 million should be here now. I'm too used to that money not getting spent. I don't think we will. I think Geo's right. I think we get old, what's his name on loan? Old Mario. Someone else on loan. No, and then the 25 million still rolls on to another window. But unlike the lottery, it doesn't roll on and stay there and get bigger. It just sort of doesn't materialise the next window.
I think we'll spend a little bit more than 10 million. I don't think we'll hit 20. I think it'll be in its teens somewhere. I think we'll get another. I think we'll get Mario on loan. I think we'll get an attacker type player on loan. We might sign a central midfielder, but it's not going to be anything exciting. I think it might. To be honest, I would not be surprised if we go back in for Harry Arter. To be honest, Gonzo, I would not be surprised if he's sort of plan F right now. We're working on A to E, and if we can't get them, we go in the drawer and we get out F. The one thing that nobody really wants, but we'll just use it. However, David Moyes is actually in Scotland tonight watching Dundee against Hibs, and John McGinn's playing.
Is that we spoke about him before?
Yeah, we spoke about him before. About 4 million, so that would sort of fit with the whole. We won't spend a lot. We need a little bit of body. But to be honest with you, I just wouldn't loan out Cullen. I almost just play Cullen. You want players. Ray's GC says, where will we finish? Well, so there's another question. Tie in with this. Someone said, I can't remember who wrote, I never wrote down, and that is, how many points do you think we will need to be safe this season? So you can tie those two in together.
I think it's just so shared and spread out. Obviously, the points tally is mathematics. It can't stay close. I think 38 points this season will do it. I did the 40-point mark. I think that's been a long time since that was needed. Possibly, don't know. That's what I used to say. 40 points. I think 37, 38 will do it.
I think 36 will be okay right now. I mean, I was reading a thing the other day, and it takes how much points the top 6 have won against the other 14 teams in the league. And it's a lot more this season than it has been the previous few seasons. So the top 6 are really dominating this year compared to the last. And you can tell by the rest of us, we're all compact and they're all taking points off each other. And when we do previews against the top 6, we all sort of label it bonus points. Well, I do anyway. And I think almost if you remove the bonus points at the end of the season, I wouldn't be surprised. The bonus points are actually the difference on who stays up and who doesn't. And it's almost like we're all going to get even points against each other. So whoever can nick the points, like Swansea did against Liverpool, like we did against Chelsea, it's almost like whoever gets those 4 or 5 points might be the difference between staying up and going down. Mark SB, on Saturday we're playing Wigan. FA Cup, do we need to sack this off, basically? We've got Palace on Tuesday.
I hope not. I hope we learned a lesson. I hope we don't. I hope we'd absolutely go for it. I mean, crikey, look, we're not having a fun time at the moment. Let's be fair. Actually, the Bournemouth game was all right. I thought we attacked and had a right old go, didn't we? Let's be fair at the start. And we were hanging on at the end. But no, I don't think we can. We need some joy, Mark. We need a bit of joy in our sorry, miserable, bloody West Ham lives, don't we? Of, not signing players and this, that, and the other, and the way everything's gone. And I don't want us to stack it up. I want us to actually go for it. I want us to beat Wigan in normal bloody time. And let's not forget, bloody Wigan were one of those clubs that when all the Tevez thing happened, they were the frigging brotherhood of clubs or whatever they were, with Fulham and bloody everyone else to try and stitch us up. No, I'd say I'd like to sort Wigan right out and lay the boot in, actually, because they wanted to see us expelled from not just the Premier League, professional football altogether. They would have had us bankrupting the club, and when Sean Bean was doing his march, they were joined on there by Wigan and all the rest of it. No, mate, I'll tell you what, no, not at all. I've not forgotten that.
I'll give my view on the preview tomorrow night to save taking up time on this one, because, well, we can't really talk about who we'd pick because there's no bloody players to choose from, so we're going to talk about something on the preview. So we'll talk about that a little bit. One last question, put it in the live chat. I might take one or two more. But just to wrap up the show type thing, make sure you do check out the auction below for Isla. If you can donate, the link is in the description below for that as well. And if you can't donate, do your best to share it. If you've got social media or anything like that, tell your friends about the auction. The auction is a chance for you to get something in return for donating to Isla. And there's some decent stuff we've got just now. We've got the programme from the Cup final. We've got the programme from Billy Bonds' testimonial. These are in good condition as well. One for you, Gonzo. We've got the programme from the when we played Buddy in the Milk Cup, signed by Phil Parks. That'll be for you. You've got, but is it signed by Phil Parks?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
and show bring it. It's the first ever game. It's the first ever game.
We've now got 2 copies of the.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
Right, last question then. James, do we need another centre-back?
No.
No, for me as well. And Tommy has said, has Antonio peaked? He's coming back. Apparently, he might be playing in under 23s at the end this week. You might see him on the bench against Palace, but
I don't know. I'd hope not. I think it's an injury type thing. Sorry, I was looking around for t-shirts for you. I can't find it. Brand new one of these. All right, this is a nice t-shirt. Chuck that in the thing as well. I'll get the old embroiderers to make up a brand new one of these. In fact, I won't do it until the winner, whoever bids for it. It's a bloody nice shirt. Actually, got all the cool material and the rest of it. Let me know, then I'll get it in your size and I'll get it ordered specially to size. So chuck that on the old list, Geo, as well. What was it again? What's the question?
Antonio peaked.
No, I don't think so. I just think he's been carrying an injury. I think he's a bit poorly.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I think he's just carrying too much muscle, actually. I've seen a few reports saying that he's actually just too big and he actually just needs to sort of trim down a little bit on his weight more than anything. Not necessarily fat, but he's just carrying so much on his body that his body just can't cope with it.
A bit like me. I'm the same.
But I've seen pictures of him in training. He does look a lot slimmer. He does look a lot in prime condition, if you like. So it'd be good to see him back. I just hope we don't rush him back. It's because we are desperate. I just hope we don't throw him in the deep end and end up having to patch him up again in 3-4 weeks' time, and then at the same time someone else is coming back and we throw him in the deep end. It's nitty-gritty stuff we're coming up to. But anyway, drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new around here. Or head on to Twitter if you follow us on there. We're almost at 10,000 followers. We need about 30 of you to follow us. So head on there, twitter.com/hammers_chat. Come and follow us on there. We'll be back with our Wigan preview. Then we've got a Wigan review. We've got a Crystal Palace preview. We've got our Crystal Palace review on Tuesday night. We'll probably have 1 or 2 transfer shows in between. As last week, 7 days to go, is really picking up. And next Wednesday, we'll be going live from about 6 p.m. right all the way up until the transfer window slams shut, apparently, anyway. But thank you very much for joining us. Gonzo, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
That's goodbye for me. Catch you in a bit.